Guys, we are getting things started. Sorry, the timer was wrong with 10 seconds. It happens sometimes. But anyway, top left side. Starting off this best of 3 to see who will advance in the ASUS ROG qualifiers and get themselves into the main event. In the top left side, we have a Terran taking on the likes of Cyril before. It's now up against a strong opponent that's taken out Cyril as well. These two people, both responsible, the sole people responsible for kicking Cyril out of this tournament, and we're going to see which one of them is going to get kicked out next. Top left side, as we were saying, a blue Terran. Shopify Rebellions. Byun. His opponent in the red colour. Bottom right side, that is a Zerg fighting for Team NV. DRG. Alright. Kicking things off, there's a lot of scouting going around here. Not entirely certain of the chivalry that is going to be displayed here by Byun. And I agree, you gotta be careful with that little sly man. Will proxy barracks you wherever he can, whenever he thinks he will be able to get away with it. That's when he strikes. That's when he does it. Alright. Very standard openings. Both these players kind of committing to the regular macro so far. The entire ping difference and stuff like that is out of the window at this point as well. Both these players in Korea, of course. So that's nice. Something we don't have to consider anymore. Although, to be fair, it didn't look, at least to us, right? I'm sure Cyril will have an entirely different opinion, but to us, it didn't look like the entire downfall of Cyril. Maybe things would have still been different, right? Just because your overall game feels so much smoother when you don't have that ping, right? Your injects are smoother. You're just being able to get all the upgrades going. You don't have to check as much if they actually got put through, with the latency being the thing, right? So yeah, who knows? Maybe things would have been different, but to me, it looks like, you know, at least one of those games, the game number 2, really wasn't won because of a ping difference right there. Then game number 3. I guess here and there we had some delay in response. It's more difficult, of course, to like respond to roaches running by and such as well when you do have that latency. So that one definitely could have been influenced more. But anyway, different players now. Little Hellion attack with the medevac starting to get lined up right now. Looking at the Zerg base, we can see a couple of nice entryways. And actually, we'll probably have the Marines in the medevac, and then the Hellions on the coming in from the bottom. Comes back around for that one extra Marine. It's going to get spotted by the Zerglings quite instantaneously. As those little Zerglings moving back, we have the extra ones on the production tab right now, of course. Immediately gearing up that production. Sees the drop of Marines near the entryway of the creep. And this is just... do we have an armory? Yes, we do. Okay, there we go. That explains this. Alright. It's just a straight up entire assault battery here right now is facing off against just a handful of queens. Is it going to be enough? Actually, the medevac already dissipated, absolutely destroyed, targeted down by those queens. And the rest of this attack now just kind of scouring, trying to get backwards with their tail between their legs. I'm not sure if I like this response. I feel like with just the Hellions, you might be able to get a lot of work done here instead of the Hellbats, right? just utilize that mobility against the queens, because there's no roaches here. It's just lings, and well, with this amount of hellions, you might be able to fight this amount of lings if you just you know, do the micro Jacksons. Uh-oh. Oh, that's not the micro Jacksons. That's not the micro Jacksons at all. That is rough. That is rough. Okay, well, I guess that plan is out of the window. He might still utilize them as hellions, right? I hope so. At least he kept most of his attack alive. It's gonna be combined with the next wave of units now. There's a third CC being constructed by Byun, as DRG is trying to get himself to Banelings. Still looking good on the 3 base. Might be considering trying to get a 4th base pretty soon. Starts up the Baneling tech and such right now beforehand. First Banshee not finding any damage so far either. Spore Crawler and a couple of Queens already in position. Now we have Siege Tank production with 2 more barracks starting up as well. So no Widow Mines here so far, just gonna go straight into the Siege Tanks. I believe it's a response Terrano doing a little bit more often right now in order to prepare for a potential lurker play later down the line. A bit more versatile in that sense, I suppose. Banshees here will be able to get force denial on this 4th base. Needs to be cancelled. Secondary distraction force was going into the 3rd base, hoping to either distract DRG from that 4th base for a little bit, or you know, maybe even get a good amount of drones there, as DRG is distracted with the 4th base. Either or would have been fine, but DRG manages to juggle both these locations, and oh my, that is quite a lot of Zerglings there, managing to squeeze on by, but that was okay. That was okay. Getting a siege tank, getting an alright amount of SCVs, forcing out a stim, so a lot of these Marines now in the yellow. There are medevacs, of course, coming up though, ready to help that situation out. It feels a bit silly to me that these Hellbats with the Marines are still, like, being such an extreme threat right now. I guess it's because we don't have Banelings available for DRG, so those Hellbats, it's just not something he wants to try and take on with pure Zerglings. Which makes sense. He might be, you know, he's gonna kill it, but he's gonna lose a lot of Zerglings in the process. And then any follow-up attack from Byun is gonna be just that much stronger against him. It's only the 3rd queen that went down so far. Byun quite consistent with his queen hunting, but managing to only get 3 so far. I thought that was more as well, but not the best stuff happening with Byun here, or for Byun. I guess he's trading out pretty reasonable so far. That is definitely the ticket for him to try and get this to go into his favor. Just keep being as efficient as he is. This is a lot of creep tumors as well getting knocked out. Look at that, entire patch of creep has to be repopulated by creep tumors. These Marines make life difficult on the top side of the map as well. There we go, more creep tumors just gone like that. Unfortunately, those creep tumors, of course, immediately replenished. It slows DRG down, but oh my, oh my. Well, that looked like a ping issue, but I promise you, it shouldn't be. I guess that was a misclick, right? Trying to target fire one of the Banelings and then not targets clicking them and kind of just moving backwards instead. Still a sufficient amount of Marines here, though, to pose a severe threat to the third base of the Zerg. Oh, very nice spot on the top side, actually. Those two medeffects there do get shot down for the time being. No, nothing to shoot upwards, though, so has to keep his units there in order to, well, avoid severe losses on that side. Kind of move them away, though, so those Marines now free to do their dirty business. Circling some banelings, realizing, oh, whoops, that was our job to deal with this. Time to go backwards. Maybe he was trying to set up a flank for the siege tank. I could see that. Okay. There's not that many Zerglings and Banelings left here anymore, but now we have Lurkers. There we go. There's the stable unit that DRG needed here to really secure this area right now. To stop the Marines from endlessly spilling down this ramp. That is just no longer going to be allowed. So he has secured this bottom area. The top side looks to be okay for him now as well. He's lost his base a couple of times. I'm not sure if he just cancelled it or lost it. Okay, it was a bunch of cancels. But still, it slowed him down. He has this 6 o'clock, though, to make up for that fact. And we have about 3k mineral difference here in units lost. So, still, Byun trading out very favorably, but is it enough? Because DRG, he's kept growing, man. He's just kept on making those drones. He's only lost 5 of the drones in total so far. So his economy has just kept on growing for a long period of time. And here we have more banelings. A lot of them actually exploding into the siege tank. Normally, that's not the greatest use of banelings, but with the lurkers here, I suppose you kind of deny the Marines from pushing back in after you've lost all your banelings anyway. So DRG just prioritizing the siege tanks. With the Vipers now, it's going to be able to kind of stop them from bombarding him from afar. Make that as difficult as possible for Byun here to do. Zerglings might... no, that is too much. That's too much. Alright. Now with the Lurker Siege Tank combination of units for both these players, things are gonna get potentially a bit defensively, right? It's gonna come down to how aggressive they still want to be, and if they think they have a couple of opportunities here or there. But other than that, from this point onwards, the game should theoretically slow down. As both players have great defensive units at the moment in time. Here we go, these bases. Oh, wow, those blinding clouds on those siege tanks, absolutely massive. Quite a bit of damage now being sustained by Byun. Where's the reinforcements coming in? It's not here. There is a big cluster of Marines on the bottom side. Finding a base to kill off as well, but I don't know. I'm liking the damage being dealt by DRG here a little bit more. As long as he forces these SCVs back a little bit right now. Gotta watch out. Yeah, there it is. GG is called. Byun just didn't have the units to break this, and yeah, DRG takes game number 1. Let me see. There we go. 1 point on the board so far. In the top left side, the blue Terran needs to have 2 victories under his belt right now. He's in the blue color. Shopify Rebellion. Byun. Bottom right side, there's a red Zerg fighting for the house of Team NV. DRG. That one Baneling hits as well. That one really big connection somewhere on the ramp. You know, it doesn't seem like much in the grand scheme of things, but they can be a massive difference maker though still. Because of the way how the DPS of the Marines, like, it is massive, right? But they're so fragile. And if you lose like 10 of them, that's a lot of DPS that's just gone right there, out of the window. The StarCraft 2 fights, they are quite unforgivable. If you start losing a fight, you're gonna start losing harder and harder every time as the fight continues. So DRG ZVT probably his best matchup. I think I would agree. I think I would agree. When was the last time DRG was beaten by a Terran? I'm not sure. So, did go for the spawning pool first there. Grabbing a quick speed upgrade as well. Only mining off of one drone here, gas-wise. But, you know what? Gun playing it safe. Reaper at home. Bunker at the front door. Gonna have his reacted factory momentarily. That will be available. And DRG here is scuttling the Queen a bit across the map, trying to ensure a safe passageway for a drone to the third. He's gonna have to choose whether or not he wants to go for the tricky to get Zerg third right now, or if he wants to go for the other one. No, just kills off the Reaper. I guess he has speed, right, with those links, so it's quite easy to do. A 1-1-1 now being chosen as the way to approach this by Byun. Very similar as we saw in the previous game, to be fair. We're just kind of hoping that if he does go for the Hellbat attack once again, he needs to keep that medevac alive. We saw the moment he lost that medevac, he just kind of stopped. He just kind of gave up at that point in time. It's an entirely different attack this round, though. This is, in fact, the thing I thought we were going to see for a moment the previous game, with the Marine attack in the medevac and then Hellions coming in from a separate area entirely. Unfortunately, both pieces of this puzzle already being revealed. The hand of Byun is open for just absolute entire interpretation of DRG, how he wants to start dealing with this. And Byun kind of slowing his offensive down already, just going for creep tumors and going for overlords instead, playing it a bit safe, seeing that he got scouted so early on, realizing he shouldn't be able to get anything done here. Oh, the Hellions, how did this happen? What? That was almost no Zerglings there. That was like a third of all the Zerglings, and they killed all of the Hellions? What? What? DRG. DRG. DRGG. And now it's just Marines. The Marines on their own. Not that great. The last time DRG lost against the Terran apparently was on the 25th of July versus Gumiho in a best of 3. That is crazy. That is absolutely crazy. I had no idea DRG was like that good in CVT. That is nuts. To be fair, he has been playing this quite nicely. He's just been entirely safe the entire time. It's like he has nothing to worry about right now. Like, absolutely nothing. He just counters everything perfectly up until this point. Oh, cancellation on the 4th base here. Realizing there's a bit more coming in than he had anticipated. The 3rd base was rather delayed in order to get this push going across the map. The 4th base over here also trying to get taken sneakily. Has to be cancelled. Byun realizing, you know what, if you cancel that base, I'm just going to go across the map here and see if you have a 4th base coming up over there. And that is exactly what he needed to do. This is one of the situations that kind of happened for DRG that last game, remember, where he lost his 4th base over and over. It was delayed a bunch, but he had another one, so it didn't really hurt him too much. It's mostly the queens right here. They're struggling to let the zerglings and the banelings through. Some siege tank fire already quite heavily reducing the baneling numbers available here for DRG. And now it drop into the main base as well. Starting to pick off drones. That is handled, though. The queens struggling. They're all in the red. No more transfuse available. Here come the banelings. Is it still enough? Zerglings from the backside as well. And that is all the siege tank push roads. But it managed to do quite a bit there, I would say. A lot of banelings died. Actually, this is... Wow, okay, that is not as many as I thought. I thought we would have more gas loss as well. But I guess the mineral trade value does show... that was a very efficient way of trading for Byun. Especially with keeping DRG away from a 4th base for a very long time. Doing a lot of good work there. But at this moment, the Overlord spotted the army moving out, allowing these Zerglings to find this opportunity here. Going for... It's only a couple of SCVs, but, you know, it's a couple of SCVs. Can't look a gifted horse in the mouth. That would be rude. And this 4th base over here, this could very likely be denial as well. Oh, those banelings! The Zerglings just not quite there to stop the Marine microing backwards. That siege tank needs to be taken out. Okay, does go back for it now. Finally gets rid of those Marines, but on the bottom left side, suddenly there's more of the aggression just spilling on through. The Marines are going to get healed up by the medevacs as they're unloading. And that's a difficult situation now for DRG to deal with. Ooh, hoo, hoo, hoo. Things looking a bit different now. Still the attack got taken out, but I guess the 4th base is established. Work account not that far apart though. Upgrades, we have 2-2 coming in here for DRG. Byun... Does he have an armory, actually? He does. Okay, so he could start the +2/+2 any moment now. Would like to see it happen pretty soon. There we go. He did have the money for it. I think he was just saving up, but... not quite seeing exactly when that armory finished. Not sure how much earlier he could have gotten it. A couple of seconds at least, but... oh well. Oh well, we'll let it slide for now. Unless if he loses this game, of course, because he attacks when he just barely doesn't have the 2-2 yet. Another assault force being set up right here. It's only a singular siege tank. It's going to be pushed out very quickly, I would say. Gets another queen. Lifting up and into the natural base he goes. It's only a single medevac here on the bottom as well. Definitely not as an impressive attack as we used to be seeing a bit earlier on. But you know, it's what you gotta do as a Terran here, right? Berserk's not building Mutalisk. Alright, this is the stuff you need to do. You need to abuse the fact that you have medevacs. It's like, hey, why aren't you building this perfect unit that is able to stop me from doing this? Alright, I guess I'll just be doing this the entire game then. Liberator's set up a little bit far away. I'm not sure if he would have hit those mineral... okay, I guess he would. Fair enough. Fair enough. Byun still going strong with these med effects here. More units will be approaching that corridor as well. Creep hasn't been able to be spread out on this angle, right? Because of the continuous med effect presence here. Same for the bottom side. Look at that. Still just taking out creep. These little pokey forces, I mean, it's really nice if they get a lot of damage dealt, but I feel like the main thing they're doing should still be as well the cleaning up of the creep tomb, is getting whatever traits they can and then just wait for the big heavy assault force to be coming in behind them and make use of that clear pathway without any creep there. Oh, that wasn't there. Okay, Byun couldn't quite hit the targeting of the Baneling right there, so had to go for a panic pickup. Felt like he could have traded out quite well against those Zerglings, if he had actually gotten rid of that one final Baneling there. But oh well. Oh well. Moving things along into a next stage for the army composition of DRG. Lurker Dan is starting the upgrades here, as we have Lurkers on the field. Vipers coming in as well. Where are these little pretty cocoons? There they are. Gonna be popping momentarily here on the side of the hatchery wall. Bam, there he is. Marvelous transformation. We'll have to watch it with a slow motion camera at some point. How the cocoon pops and lets out a beautiful Viper. Marines. He was a bit busy on the right side here. 10 workers did get taken out by that counter-attack. DRG not quite sure where the medevacs will be going next, so moving back and forth here. And that's the wrong side for DRG. Not where he wanted it to be. Go, target down the Banelings, target down the Banelings. Oh, that was good targeting. That was really good targeting. Okay, trying to get the drop now on the ground again. This is still pretty good. This is a lot of Marines here in comparison to the amount of Zerg units that are here. Yeah, okay, the Lurkers come up and do shut that down. Let's take a look at the units lost tab once again. Not that bad, not that bad. Income advantage. You know what? It's not just a big, massive red spike anymore. Byun in a much better position as he was the last game. It's still a very difficult one to deal with. Okay, big drop into the main base. I like this. Just prevent a direct encounter with the Lurkers for as long as possible. Force them to go into you instead of you into them. It's a lot easier for Lurkers to go into an opposing force than it is for siege tanks anyway. They just burrow themselves in the ground a lot quicker. Bitterwood in the chat saying there's just not enough Widow Mines, and you know what? The man might have a point. Widow Mines really are the great way to just be able to take out big clusters of Zerglings and Banelings. And that is what DRG has been playing with for most of this time. Now, to be fair, Byun, because he didn't make the Widow Mines, right, he does have a very solid tank lineup now. He's been producing these tanks endlessly. Saving them up, waiting for the Lurkers to come out. And now here they are. Now he has the army that he, you know, can kind of mold into a better force to deal with Lurkers. Just needs to start getting himself some Liberators, I would say, maybe. Some Vikings wouldn't be too bad either. Ghost might be better, though, of course. Just being able to EMP the Vipers or snipe the Vipers, all of that stuff. Incredibly worthwhile. Attack here. Yeah, DRG just really tightening the bolts of the defense. Byun has to be careful not to be overly aggressive right now. Can be his downfall sometimes. Because for DRG, finding themselves a very good angle on this base right now. Actually, a pretty good angle on the siege tanks. Is not going to commit to this place over here, but we'll be moving back out of there. Might still hang around that area, though, just because he has to deal with a little bit of harassment. Might be looking for a follow-up pretty soon, especially with the amount of siege tanks that he's been able to just yoink away right now. Very good stuff right there. Byun being punished for the lack of ghosts for such a long period of time. It's already almost 17 minutes in the game, and this is the first ghosts coming out on the field. I guess he has 4 of them here. So, yeah, it's still, he's building 4 at a time. It's not great. It's 1 cycle of ghosts that we've had. 1.5 right now. Okay, DRG coming in to see how many bases his opponent is on. It's going to feel pretty comfortable that there's nothing hidden around the map right now. Hasn't been playing under false assumptions. Little marine drop on the top side as Byun starts making his way to the left as well. Already has a couple of units there. Yeah. Medevacs, I mean, maybe just into the main base, stuff like this, right? You can't be everywhere with the Lurkers. It's impossible. Sometimes it feels that they're everywhere, but it is actually impossible to be everywhere, right? There must be places that don't have Lurkers. The middle here, right? We don't have Lurkers over here. We have only 2 over here. Nothing in the main base. We used to have Lurkers there, but not anymore. We don't have Lurkers anywhere anymore, except for here now. And over here, of course. Going to visit Byun's 3rd base in a little bit. There's the siege tank shooting away. A couple of ghosts and being able to land a couple snipes. Doing well with this. That's just not enough for him. There is just not enough for him. 14 SCVs quite brutally murdered. The Zerglings and the Hydras all on top of them right now. Army 4 DRG is getting absolutely annihilated though, and the orbital does remain standing. Vipers are still alive for DRG as well. Was that worth it? I think it was, right? 72 workers available here for DRG, only 46 for Byun. As long as Byun doesn't manage to land a devastating blow onto DRG right now, I think DRG might be starting to really ramp up to take this one. But this is still quite an opportunity for Byun that is presenting itself. Just gotta watch out for the Banelings and the Lurkers here. His army, it's still quite high up in supply, but look at those HP bars, guys. This is gonna melt in like 2 attacks of a Lurker. His entire army could be gone. Has to be incredibly careful. Pick and choose his battles. This base right here in the center. A shame for Byun that it didn't get broken down earlier on. But it's still a weak target. Might still be able to get some units over there and take it out. Would be a worthwhile target to try and spend some resources on. This base as well. Half HP. How much do we still have left here? It's close to 4k, right? 4k, still about 2k gas as well. Not bad. A couple of snipes. The battle of energy. Whoever has the energy might be able to pick up some units for cheap. Was Byun still too late though with the ghost? That's kind of the question. Was he still too late? Overall, the resources lost counts not looking too bad for Byun, right? If he does manage to get a split map situation going. Theoretically, I feel like that should go into his favor. Unless if DRG manages to grab 1 or 2 more bases than his opponents. But that's incredibly rough to do. Things are just so cramped later down the line. Okay, Zerglings don't get a good surround, so his ball of bio will be able to run away. Did those land? They didn't land. Come on, EMP. Devil! Right, they went into the banelings though. So I mean, that's kind of funny. Right, it's still okay to lose your ghost if he's only being killed by banelings. It's kind of good. Another little drop here. That's cool. Man, that's a lot of lurkers. 20 lurkers out and being utilized right now. Mostly on these 2 pincer locations. Byun realizing his mistake. Sending in man after man after they instantly explode hitting their gun. He's like, what's going on there? Just keep going. I'm sure you'll be fine. Keep jumping, boys. Now both these bases are just protected by the lurkers. Very difficult, it seems, for Byun to find some damage, but to be fair, he has been quite careful with his harassment as well. He's only sending in a single medevac at a time right now. Not looking to tempt fate all too much. This is not a great fight, is it? Maybe a couple of those lurkers being hidden underneath the overseers, or at least one of them. It's also in the shrubbery, so harder to see, I suppose. Bottom side, nice little run by. Planetary Fortress will stop this from doing anything more than this, though. Unless if they turn themselves into banelings, of course. Oh, what are those siege tanks doing? Bio needs to come to the rescue. Medevacs could try to pick them up, but the siege tanks will... Only one of them gets lifted up back into Valhalla. Here we have these lurkers as well coming in for a base that is nearly empty, but right behind it is, of course, the entrance to the main base. If this is gonna get shot down as territory for Byun to use, it's going to be very rough for him to break this. Okay, the overseers now on top of the lurkers will not allow the ghost to free snipe without any extra damage being taken, of course. The snipes here really struggling to go on through. Starting to finally lower these lurker numbers a little bit, so might be able to do easier snipes. Very difficult, though, to manage. But he does manage, ultimately. The bottom side is under threat by a singular lurker, also a bit annoying, bit of a nuisance. Economy game definitely going into DRG's favor. I really like how he pushed the top side. Now he's expanded to this bottom side. Like, he's taken control of the top and the bottom in this way at the same time, in a sense. As long as he can keep these bases alive, keep a couple of lurkers there to ensure no counterattacks, just free push that area. Should be able to maintain that side, and without an extra base for Byun here, it's more difficult for him to push into the top side as well. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. It's like, well, it worked out last time. Maybe this time around we'll get it to be our salvation. Maybe this is the way. Here he is again, just in the exact same spot. It worked out the previous time to a certain extent. He managed to trade, and that's all he needs to do, right? That's all he wants to do at this moment. He just wants to trade with more bases up against his opponents. Byun tries to break on through here on the bottom side, and is taking out some hatcheries. This new base is quite valuable. Not one that DRG is keen on losing. But to be fair, being on top of all this production of the Terran is quite a brutal situation overall itself. Bio units here of Byun not quite finding a way to successfully deal with this base. The two lurkers more than enough to deal with the two medevac pressure. Wow, that dies quick, doesn't it? Wow, that dies quick. A certain amount of lurkers just kills everything. Very careful with which which lurker he is trying to snipe. This is rough. This is so rough, guys. Base in the bottom left side. DRG, how many workers? He's only on 63 workers. I think that's the main problem here. If he managed to get himself up to a little bit higher, like above 70, he would be able to replenish so much quicker. Actually have reinforcing armies for these lurkers to utilize a lot quicker. But, you know what? He's still making it work. He's still pushing on through. Another base will fall. To be fair, it's not really an important base. Not that much stuff remaining here to be mined. Then again, every single orbital worth its weight in gold right now for Byun needs to make use of those mules. Absolutely crucial for him to squeeze out minerals that way, because he's just behind on the economy far enough as is. Cannot afford to fall behind any further. Ghost. Don't manage to get the snipes. All those lurkers still 1 HP remain. Not that fantastic. It's not the way to finish off this game though for DRG either. Cannot afford to keep jumping in like that every time. Another good reason to keep those orbitals around. You need to have these scans consistent. Just because of the lurkers jumping in and out of the ground wherever they want to. Does kind of feel like they have a bit of free reign. 4 more lurkers here on the high ground. Kind of has a waiting force. Assuming that would be another army of the Terran coming in here. That's the proper assumption. That is where the production is, of course. A little ghost army. The Ghostbusters will be forcing their way on the 6 o'clock. Have to lift up, leave some of their friends behind. I'm sure they cross the beams. Oh, that's funny stuff. Just seeing those AIs is... Oh, what's going on here? Why won't you move, Bill? It's like... I don't understand. Why do you only communicate in moans nowadays, Bill? A lot of changelings on the ramp. Yeah, this... I mean, Byun... Is he still alive? He's still alive, right? He's still in this. He still has an army, which is the main thing. And DRG's army is kind of similar. DRG doesn't have a bank. Despite the enormous economy he still has, he doesn't have a bank just quite yet. But he does have a big counter-attack here coming in. Is this enough Zerglings? Is this enough Zerglings? I think it might be, especially if the Marines don't block off the ramp. And oh, that is rough. Oh, that is quite rough. That is everything gone right there. Again, the production facilities are going to be under threat. Never mind, there's enough Marines popping out at the right time. Just barely keeping that place secure. Incredibly important to keep that place in Terran hands, of course. Otherwise, the army of Byun would just slowly get whittled down unit by unit on the bottom side here. without any reinforcements coming in. Zerg, of course, free to have all these hatcheries flow in units, Hydralisk, Zerglings, Lurkers, everything he would like to have into the front line. 2 Lurkers now together with the Zerglings. Not as many Zerglings though. A bit nicer control from Byun, being able to micro backwards and avoid the complete surround of the Zerglings. It's kind of funny how DRG is sending these Zergling run-bys like past the main line through the trenches of the of the Menagio line, being like, "All right, I'm sending in more. Byun, watch out." As a token of good faith, I will let you know I'm coming to destroy your main base again. Oh, that's not good. Oh, that's not good. Guess he's busy over here. Oh, that's not good. Oh, Byun! Oh, stop it! Byun, please! Please, Byun! No! Not like this. This might be too much Zerg now. Is it enough Zerg this time around? Wave after wave colliding into Byun's forces. I mean, if Byun still wins this, I am gonna be incredibly impressed. Like, that would be the crazy... This would be make this game one of my favorite games ever. But right now, I just don't see it happen. I just don't see it happen. DRG just too darn solid with this matchup. ZVT just absolutely destroying Byun right now up until this point in time. Comes in once more. This planetary fortress, it doesn't have much left, but whatever it does have left is not going to be mined out by Byun, it would appear. Neither will whatever is here on the bottom side. This is just too much firepower coming through from the Zergs. The SCVs are on the run. The army of the Ghost is shriveled up like a little tiny onion that's left underneath the cupboard for a good solid 30 years or something like that. There's still a reasonable squadron of fighting power on the top side for Byun available, though. It's not going to be a match versus the main force of DRG, but it is still enough to provide a way out for the bottom force, while also taking out another hatchery on the top side, which is, well, one of the few bases still mining for DRG. DRG having these 2 bases on the 6 o'clock as his main source of income. So the last 2 bases he had gotten. These 2 bases at the 12 o'clock still entirely unmined, actually. Filled up with resources, never been able to touch because DRG just kept coming in like this with all these lurkers through the top ranks and kept shutting down Byun with whatever maneuver he wanted to make on that top side. GG is called.